Hello everyone, in this video we'll be showing you guys how to build the URL for raising an event. Later in the video we'll also show you how to build the URL for making a query to your Pico. So to start off, right, you're going to have the protocol, the host, and the port. In this example, we'll just pretend that we have the Pico Engine running locally and we'll use localhost. And we're just doing port 8080 because that's the default one. So to indicate that you're going to be raising an event, you're going to want to put /sky/event right after the port. So we'll go ahead and put that there. After that, you want to put your ECI. ECI stands for Event Channel Identifier. And that's going to go right after the sky/event. And we'll take a quick break and just explain what an ECI is for.
Okay, so before we explain what Internet Channel Identifiers are, or ECIs, let me remind you that Picos can receive events and queries through Internet channels. They can also have channels with Picos that are hosted on different instances, and they can call or be called by Internet-hosted APIs. So now you've been reminded of that, let's dive into this example. It's going to teach you more about why we have channels. So let's just get this straight. An ECI is just the identifier for the channel. Channels are used for routing events, and the ECI on the Pico Engine is really just a DID, or a decentralized identifier, but we use it to refer to the channel. And so in this example, like, you've created channels with different just stuff in your homes, right? You got the sound system, a projector, a printer, and maybe even your cell phone. But you've created channels to communicate with these things. And channels are really great for, they have three major pros. They have managing, permissioning, and independent responding. And so we'll go through how they accomplish these things. So let's start with managing. Let's say your printer, right, who's got this channel with you, has just been spamming you after every print job, and you know that you're going to have a lot that day, and you just don't want to be, you don't want to have your Pico Engine spammed. You can easily just delete that channel, right? You can delete it, and you have not affected any of the channels with your other devices, right? They can still communicate with you. That's an example of managing right there. Now for permissioning, let's say you do have a channel with a Pico from a different engine, right? They can send you events to your Pico inquiries. You wouldn't like it if this Pico was able to raise the same events your projector can, or you wouldn't want it to be able to raise an event that would turn on your projector or something like that. You know, you want it to only raise certain events. And so you can allow for that, right? You can say, in this channel that I have with this Pico on a different instance, it can only raise these certain events. And then the channel for your projector, right, it will raise events maybe just related to the projector. Now for independent responding, you know, because it's possible that both, maybe, like, let's take your projector and your monitor right here. Let's say they both have a common event, something like power save event, something you tell them, hey, please conserve energy when possible. The monitor and the projector are going to use energy very differently, right? The monitor might use less energy than the projector. And so you wouldn't want them to behave the exact same. You want them to respond independently, uniquely. And so let's say the projector, on its power save event, it says, okay, I'm going to make sure that I've been on for 3 hours, I'm going to turn off. But the monitor, let's say, it's like, I can be on for 5 hours before turning off. And having these channels will allow them to respond independently. It gives them context. And so I hope this showed you why it's so important to have the ECI and the URL for raising an event. And you also have the ECI for doing a query, which we'll talk about later.
Okay. Now that you know what the event channel identifier is, after you put the event channel identifier, you want to put your EID, which stands for the event identifier. So the EID is an arbitrary number or string. you can use it to distinguish this event from different events. For example, if you're raising the same event from your phone or your Raspberry Pi, you might use a different EID on each one in order to know which event belongs to which device. After that is your domain, the domain of the event, and after the domain, you're going to put the type to the event. Okay, now we're going to explain how to build the URL to make a query. So, it starts off the same. We're going to have the protocol, then the host, and the port. But after that, instead of doing sky event, you will be doing sky cloud. So sky cloud will go after the port. Then, just like the event, we will have the ECI after the sky cloud. And then you're going to have the rule set identifier. And this is just the name of the rule set where the function can be found. After that, you're going to specify the function you'll be querying. So you just write the function name. And then any parameters that function requires will go after that. And you'll show that by doing a question mark, the parameter's name, and then the value for that parameter. It's simple as that.
Okay, so I am going to show you guys how to make a query using Postman. So the first thing you'll want to do is, if you don't have Postman, just go to postman.com, download it. It's pretty simple to get, and it will look like this when you have it. So then I also have my Pico Engine running right here. So we're going to create the query just like Beto explained to us. First, we include the protocol, and then the host and port, which, if you look here, I've got my ports 8080 as my host. I just replaced this with localhost. So then once you do that, you'll go sky, cloud, and then you'll need the ECI. So go to your Pico Engine. I have this test Pico set up. I'll go to his channels, and I'm just going to do the secret admin one. Copy that. Add it there. The next thing you'll need is the name of the rule set that you're using. So I am actually just using this test rule set is the name of it. I can bring it up right here. All it has is this one function that it shares so that we can make a query. And so I'll go test, and then hello world. Just by running that, you'll see I get the response hello world, which is what this returns. So you'll see it's not that difficult. It's pretty simple. The hardest part is building up that URL.